The story of the 2016 Democratic primary race looks very different depending on which charts you choose to follow. If you look at the national primary polls according to RealClearPolitics, you'll see a very dramatic story in January. You'll see Bernie surging in the middle of the month and then begin to lose ground. If you look at the same graph from Huffpost Pollster, you'll see Bernie gaining ground much more gradually throughout January and over the last year. Believe it or not, both of these stories are perfectly valid and true. The differences just come down to how you aggregate data, how you choose to weight polls, and which polls you decide to include. But whichever narrative you choose to follow, there is no doubt that the Iowa primaries will be a significant plot point in this story. In the 2008 race, Hillary had been a clear frontrunner nationally until Barack Obama's win in Iowa generated a massive influx of media coverage, which helped to propel him into first place. A win for Sanders in Iowa could do the same, especially since it would have an excellent chance of being followed by a second win in New Hampshire. At the same time, a win for Hillary might help to cement the notion that Sanders is the Democratic version of Ron Paul, an honest politician with a massive online following of young people who, at the end of the day, cannot compete at the ballot box. In a moment, I'll show you the Iowa polls. They're extremely close. Anyone who tells you today that they know for sure who will win is an idiot or a liar. But I want to hear your best guesses in the comments below. Is this going to be a big win for Bernie, or will the day go to Hillary? What do you think?
How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned?
I don't know!
At the moment, 538.com is giving Hillary Clinton a 76% chance of winning in Iowa. I find this forecast absurd.
Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, I do not do that thing.
While Hillary maintains a slight lead in the Iowa polls by a point or two depending on where you look, Sanders has the general momentum. The most important single factor in Iowa will likely be whether young voters decide to show up or not. If the young people who said that they were likely voters decide to flake, as young people sometimes do, then Iowa will almost certainly go to Clinton. If, however, Bernie's message inspires them to show up in unprecedented droves, Clinton has virtually no chance at all. How the fine folks at 538.com believe they know how many young people will show up to vote is beyond me. The reality is that there are a lot of people who were too young to vote in 2008 who are old enough to do so now. Their preference is certainly for Bernie, but their likelihood to show up at the ballot box is completely untested. Attempting to predict their behavior based on previous voting generations' behavior in a completely different election is shaky ground to say the least. But if we want to take a guess about whether the supporters of a candidate attempting to outflank Hillary Clinton from the left will show up more or less than expected in Iowa, the data is available to us. 4 days before Iowa, RealClearPolitics puts Sanders behind Clinton by 2.1 points. 4 days before Iowa in 2008, RCP put Obama behind Clinton by 2.0 points. 4 days before that, RCP estimated Obama and Clinton to be tied with 28.3% of the vote each. 8 days before Iowa in 2016, they had Sanders and Clinton to be in a tie, both with 45.7% of the vote. Now, I'm not about to say that history is going to repeat itself because, contrary to popular belief, I do not have magical powers.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I can't predict the future.
A wizard.
But I will say that being 2% behind in the polls quite obviously doesn't mean anything. Given that the polls in Iowa leading up to the straw poll for 2008 and 2016 look shockingly similar, do I think Bernie could beat Hillary just as Obama did? Of course I do. Do I think it's possible that the polls will turn out to be underestimating the turnout of young voters? Yes. Do I believe that giving Clinton a 76% chance of winning Iowa is irresponsible, absurd, and laughably indefensible? What do you think?